This year's NBA playoffs ended less than a couple of months ago with a bang, and players now have a chance to rest and train for the upcoming regular season. One man returning to court during training camp is Ben Simmons, whom teammate Seth Curry has now vouched for, ahead of concerns of Simmons' health. We'll be covering that and more in today's video. First up, Simmons' return. Ben Simmons was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers in 2016, and since then he's already earned himself multiple All-Star awards. The Brooklyn Nets, recognizing his talent, made a huge deal last season that many probably didn't see coming. They traded out one of the NBA's most consistent scorers, James Harden, for Ben Simmons. Harden has been uncertain about the future of the Nets for some time, and this trade was most likely initiated through pressure from his camp. Regardless, this deal linked Simmons to the Nets. He was expected to make his debut last season, sometime in 2022, but health issues that kept him away from games since June of 2021 meant that he needed to go through a ramp-up before he could get his feet back onto the court. While the Nets eagerly awaited his return, Simmonds suffered a flare in his back that prevented him from making his debut last season. He underwent surgery for what was determined to be a hernia in his back, and it seems that he's finally able to make his return. It's been announced that Simmons will return to play with the Nets during training camp, though many are still concerned about Simmons' health and if he'll be able to stay on the roster. Teammate Seth Curry has taken to the news media to relieve fans' fears. Next, Curry backs up Simmons. One of the things that has given fans pause in regard to Simmons' return to the court is that he hasn't played a game in over a year now. However, Seth Curry, who was Simmons' teammate in the 76ers and now in the Nets, made it a point to back Simmons up during an interview with Australian news organization the Herald Sun. Curry believes that despite the long hiatus, Simmons still has the same unstoppable skill set that he's demonstrated for half a decade, and that he's a multiple All-Star award winner for a reason. If you ignore the fact that he's been away from the game for a while, most probably wouldn't claim there's much wrong with his game. There is one concern that many might share though, and that is that Simmons might be a little skittish when it comes to taking jump shots, which might compromise the Nets' offensive distance. But Curry doesn't think that's much of a negative, saying that he doesn't need a jump shot. For Curry, Simmons' strengths are enough to make him a good addition to the team, and that includes rebounding, defending, and pushing the ball forward. Considering Simmons' size, someone like that and with his talent would make it really difficult for the opposing team to steal the ball. That alone makes him worth having. Lastly, why Simmons left the 76ers. Since being drafted by the 76ers in 2016, Simmons has racked up numerous awards, including 3 straight All-Star honors between 2019 and 2021, 2 All-Defensive First Team awards, and Rookie of the Year in 2018. It's clear then that he had a lot to offer the Philadelphia 76ers. So why did he get traded out for James Harden? Of course, Harden is one of the greats still playing in the NBA, but Simmons had the potential to be that for the 76ers as well. Last season's semifinals might provide some insight. Back in 2021, during the Eastern Conference semifinals, the 76ers were locked in a heated confrontation with the Atlanta Hawks in Game 7. This might be where tensions first arose between Simmons and the team. Simmons had a wide open layup opportunity during a critical point in the fourth quarter, which he ultimately missed. That was essentially what decided the game in favor of the Hawks. Following the game, Joel Embiid, center for the Sixers, spoke out about it in an interview when asked about the turning point. He seemed to rebuke Simmons when he said that they had an open shot, but instead made a free throw. It was an offhanded insult, but it seems like it was just the heat of the moment that got to Embiid. He later said that he bore no ill will against Simmons, whose decision he said he respected. It's likely though that higher-ups in the organization didn't have their reactions watered down by time, and figured Simmons' aversion to going for the shot was detrimental to the team, opting to trade him out. Regardless, he's now in the Nets offense. Only time will tell how available Simmons will be for training camp, and if his health remains stable as the next season rolls around. Now it's time for some other news. First up, Shumpert arrested for marijuana possession. A recent felony incident involving free agent basketball player Iman Shumpert has come to light. Shumpert, who hasn't played in the NBA since 2021, was arrested at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport on Saturday for allegedly attempting to bring in 6 ounces of marijuana through security. Police were quickly called to the TSA checkpoint where Shumpert was being held and were told that he was found with a sizable amount of marijuana. The police report that was provided by the DFW Airport Department of Public Safety noted that Shumpert had revealed to officers that his bag contained marijuana, and asked if there was any way he could still make his flight to Los Angeles. His determination to make his flight likely had to do with the fact that his daughter was waiting for him to pick him up there. Shumpert was told no and was then arrested for felony possession of marijuana and subsequently taken to the airport jail. In addition to the marijuana, officers also found a weapons magazine with 14 bullets loaded into it in his backpack. However, there was no gun found. As of yet, no one from Shumpert's camp could be reached for a comment. Next, Rivers responds to 76ers tampering allegations. The NBA is currently investigating the Philadelphia 76ers for potential tampering in regards to their offseason signings of James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Daniel House. However, head coach of the team, Doc Rivers, believes that the Sixers did nothing wrong. Speaking on ESPN's The VC Show podcast, Rivers said that the allegations are not true in the slightest. What's at the center of the allegations is James Harden's decision to join the Sixers for a lower price than his $47 million option with the Nets for the 2022-2023 season. Since Harden went for a lower salary, it afforded the Sixers the space needed to sign Tucker and House as well. However, Rivers claimed that the front office of the Sixers didn't know that Harden was going to do that until a few hours prior to the trade deadline. Rivers recalled the conversation he had with the president of basketball operations for the team, with neither knowing whether Harden would opt in or out 5 hours before the deadline. Rivers believes that the allegations are the result of the competitive nature of the league, which isn't just restricted to the court, and carries on in the executive offices as well. For him, it's likely that some teams felt that the Sixers getting Harden at a lower price was unfair, and drove them to take it up with the league's authorities. However, until the NBA's investigation concludes and their findings are revealed, it's uncertain whether Harden will remain with the Sixers and if they'll come out of the situation unscathed. Lastly, Shareef O'Neal tackles criticism. It's not easy following in the footsteps of your parents, and it's likely especially hard when your father is Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. That's the burden that Shareef O'Neal has to contend with. If you're going to have to deal with that, you'd necessarily have to have nerves of steel and a penchant for dealing with naysayers. Shareef recently showed that he has both in spades. Robert Horry, Shaq's old teammate from the Los Angeles Lakers, recently made comments about Shareef's abilities on his podcast, Big Shot Bob. This came after news broke out that the younger O'Neal couldn't get a spot on the Lakers' summer squad roster. Horry said that he was about to call Shaq and tell him his son can't just coast off the O'Neal name and has to actually go out there and make a name for himself. He also said that, though he thinks Shareef's a good kid, he doesn't think he has the dog in him to go out and take what he wants. Shareef wasted no time in responding to his father's friend in a tweet. He first acknowledged that Horry's comments might be made out of love and respect for his father, but followed that up by saying he was raised by his father and therefore embodies his values of persistence and determination. He ended by saying that Horry will see what he's actually capable of soon enough. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Simmons was the right choice for the Nets? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.